Money Vikings, thanks for joining me. I have a very special one for you today, and it's about how to cope with financial stress. And in general, the ideas and the concepts that we will talk about will help us all cope with all kinds of stress. But I'm going to get into why there's a lot of financial stress right now. And then I want to talk about some really practical ways, not gimmicks, that we can work through it. So let's take a deep breath through our nose, let it out, relax for a second, and just help each other through various stresses. So let's get right into it here. Coping with stress. And of course, please like and subscribe, and please check out truewealth.moneyvikings.com for a more in-depth discussion about this within our blog. But here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the raging 20s. So this is a term that we coined a couple of years ago when we entered the 2020s. And instead of calling it the roaring 20s, we looked out ahead at what was coming and what was before us, and we determined that we're going to live through what's called the raging 20s. It's not all bad, but it is, as the name implies, a time of great turbulence. So we've already seen it with a pandemic, once in 100 years pandemic. That was a huge deal, and that threw all of us for a loop and threw us into a crisis mode as a world, really. And we all had to deal with that on a global, societal, and individual level. And that was very stressful for a lot of people. And many are still coming out of it, but many have come out of it. So there's that. Is also economic instability going on, and we have seen inflation get really crazy. And now we're seeing the trend of artificial intelligence and technology completely upend things. So that's why, these are just a couple reasons we're calling it the raging 20s. Now, there's also global instability and global geopolitical things that are changing. The United States will probably be fine after all this is said and done, but it doesn't mean there aren't going to be a few bumps in the road. It's not the post-Cold War, post-World War II era anymore, where the United States is the one single capitalistic economic power in the world that can kind of dictate the terms. There's now a multipolar world, and there's various regional issues, as we've seen. So anyway, it's the raging 20s. So that means that we're all going to deal with a little bit more stress. So that means we need to develop tools together and individually to deal with that stress. And I'm going to specifically focus on financial stress because we are, for the most part, a personal finance blog, although we do focus a little bit, or no, I shouldn't say a little bit, but we focus also on health and family and collectibles. So this is what's causing it. We've talked about it. There's high levels of debt. People have high levels of debt. Credit cards are already maxed out again. Inflation has been pretty wild. There's a lack of emergency savings. A survey conducted just in 2020 found that looked like almost 40% of adults in the United States would not be able to cover a $400 unexpected expense. Income inequality continues to grow, as we know. A lot of that is driven by technology. Retirement savings are definitely at a shortfall. I read today, I'm part of Generation X, but I read that in general, there's an average maybe 401k balance of $86,000, or even let's say it's $100,000. Well, most people think you need about $1 million to retire. So clearly, that's not on a good trajectory, especially if someone's in their late 40s or 50s. They're way behind. Now, that's the point of Money Vikings. You can watch, you can listen, you can implement some of these ideas. We're trying to take you through our journey, and we're trying to show you the best available techniques and tools that we can all use to succeed and be ready for retirement, be healthy, etc., better for our families and for our children. So there is a mental health impact to this. Financial stress has a significant impact on mental health. It's very stressful for people. And you see a lot of these things become compounding. They grow on each other. And so as one stress compounds and it's not dealt with, there can be others that are added. So this is about taking a deep breath together, practicing my nose breathing, of course, and really focusing in on what we can do to manage these realities. A lot of these things are external to us. It's not always our fault if we get a job layoff. It's not always our fault if we live in a highly expensive area where housing prices and there's housing shortages and it's just hard to live. None of us can really do anything about inflation. We rely on the Fed to squash inflation on one hand, and at the other hand, not break too many things in the economy. So, and that's why I mentioned inflation here. Inflation is hitting everyone, especially the middle class, very hard. The Fed is desperately trying to get a handle on it, but we'll see. We implemented about a year ago or a year and a half ago inflation defense systems, and check those out at the blog as well, because those are some ideas. So I did link some different kind of videos that I thought were pretty good about how to pay off bad debt. The basic concepts of how to pay off bad debt are to make a list of the debts and to tackle the high interest first. Because again, our brains get overwhelmed by too much at once. That's why people get overwhelmed by, anything from a project in school to a project at work or any kind of project in life. Because what happens is we get overwhelmed by all the things that need to be done, when what we need to do is write down the things that need to be done in the order they have to go, and then you got to focus on one thing at a time. That's the way our brains work. We do one thing at a time. We're actually not good at multitasking. It's not a very good human trait. So how to pay off debt? The biggest thing is you find those highest, if you have a couple of credit cards, let's say you have school debt, a car debt, and 2 credit card debts, okay? Well, let's say the credit cards are, one's 20% interest rate, one's 15% interest rate, the car is 6%, and the student loan is 3%. Well, clearly you want to tackle that 20% first, all right? So try to get that beaten down and done, okay? You get that off the plate. Then you go to the 15%er. Try to get that one beaten down. Get that one down, squash it, get that one out of the way. Then you hit the car, and it's going to take time. That's the thing about our system. It's very easy to get into debt. It basically takes, I have a pen. It basically takes signing your name on a piece of paper or electronically with a pen. That's how we get into debt. But getting out of it is really hard, and that's what they don't teach you in school. They don't tell you about how long it takes to get out of debt. They just tell you it's pretty easy to sign right here and you can get whatever you want instantly, okay? So you got to learn that lesson and get that ingrained in your brain. All right, so first thing to do when dealing with financial stress, assess and prioritize your expenses. A lot of people don't take a holistic look at everything that's going out every month. You start adding everything up, and now, speaking of bills, people got rid of cable, right? But they have, 7 different subscriptions, Netflix, HBO, this, that, Disney, Amazon, blah, 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 blah. Okay, do you really need all those? I don't think we need them all, Find the ones you can cut and cut 1 or 2. So that's a great low-hanging fruit place to start. You'll probably be fine, right? What are some other areas where expenses are really high? Maybe you're eating out every night of the week. Well, cut that back to 3 nights a week. Right away, you're going to have instant savings, Maybe the car loan that you have is way too much. Maybe it's too much car. Well, there's nothing wrong with trading in a car for one that's less expensive at a lower rate. Your life will be fine. You'll be fine driving instead of driving a Mercedes, you're driving a nice Honda Accord. There's nothing wrong with that. I think most millionaires in this country drive Toyota Camrys or Ford F-150s, to be honest. So I don't know, join the millionaire club and drive the most efficient, least expensive car there is, a Toyota Camry. So that's the first thing, assessing and prioritizing your expenses. I understand some things are non-negotiable. I mean, if you're locked in on a mortgage, you're locked in. Rent's pretty negotiable. I mean, you can search for different places to live that are possibly cheaper, but that's a harder one too. It's probably easier to take control of, the discretionary spending. Are you spending too much on clothes? Is there a way to use some thrift stores? Other things like that. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, seek professional advice and assistance. There's nothing wrong with getting help, especially when we're stressed out. And there's a big stigma out there about getting help and mental health. And I think our society is desperately trying to minimize that stigma, but it's definitely still out there. And so I would just say, try to go out and get some professional help. I think it's really important. And I found too, there are resources out there. There's free resources that you can access. So try to do some research locally. Explore additional income streams. We focus a lot on what can be cut, but what can be added? Is there a part-time side hustle or part-time job or other skill that you have. There seem to be so many, websites now for dog walking and TaskRabbit and Grubhub and all the different things that we can do to make a little extra money. I sell the comics and collectibles. Now it basically pays for my hobby because I like to feed it back into it. But if I wanted to, I could make some money selling my magic cards and comics online. It's fine, little extra money, right? And I've noticed too sometimes just the concept of thinking about making extra money makes you kind of value what you have coming in even more, right? So there's an idea. Okay, the other thing I gotta say about dealing with financial stress and stress in general, it's so much why we focus here on the station, on our channel, our channel, on health, okay? Exercise and health, just implementing some kind of movement into our life, a little bit of cardio, just seems to do wonders in terms of bringing our stress levels down. I know for me personally, cardio is a really good thing, good tool to deal with stress. And the other one is health. When we're stressed out, we tend to go towards the unhealthy foods. Okay, that's fine, and I get it, but also try to get the good healthy foods in there because that can help you deal with the stress cortisol levels. It can help you feel more energized and able to get out of the rut that you're in. So that's another one that I really like to focus on. And we've got plenty of different articles and videos on various things we're doing for health. Okay, automate and trend. What do I mean by this? So this is the final thing I'll mention. So again, you guys know that a big theme of Money Vikings is to automate your wealth building as much as possible. Now, the traditional one is, you got a job and every 2 weeks you're getting paid, let's say. Every 2 weeks you're having 5%, 6%, 10%, 12%, whatever you can do, automatically put into your investment accounts or into a savings account or whatever. But it's automatic and you're not in between that money and your future self. That's the key. So please, please, please try to find a way to automate yourself. And the same can be done for paying off debt. We can increase and decrease the levels that we pay off every month, and we can automate some of those things. So it's just another thing to consider. What I mean by trend is these small steps help us trend in the right direction. They all seem like small things when you think about it. Oh gosh, what am I going to do? Just run around my block? What am I going to do? I'm going to eat a salad today and make sure I'm really well hydrated. That's not a big deal. What am I going to do? I'm going to open my 401k and I'm just going to contribute 3%. Oh, that's not a big deal. But let me tell you something. You do like 3 or 4 of these little things, they're really going to add up over time. And it's going to make a big difference in your life, I believe. So it's not investment advice, not health advice and all that stuff. This is what I do. It's how I cope with it. But we just wanted to share those ideas. Just a couple of big ones of coping with stress. I'd say the final thing is, and it's a lot about why I do this stuff on collectibles, is find a community, find like-minded people that you want to talk with, that you enjoy being around. It really helps to have friends and family that you can do something fun with. That helps bring our stress down. So hey, take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and thanks a lot for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing if our channel and our content brings you value. I'd really appreciate it if you shared it, because we want to grow the channel and I want to spread some good vibes and want to spread some good information out there to actually help people in this world. I think we all could use a little bit of that in this world. Thank you.